Bouyon! That's like a sauce,
Get pain relief fast with Frances Rub.
When the days get tough, rub it. Having back pains, rub it. The dog not well, rub it. COVID on you, rub it. If you have 4AD, rub it. For proper circulation, rub it. Stroke have you on a side, rub it. For all problems in life, rub it with Frances Rub. Or call 713-4162 or 489-3421. Nothing beats a good old Frances Rub. Located in the Vendors Arcade, booth 27B.
And now in VA4 on Girodi Street next to the post office.
With all the wonders in the world, St. Lucia's only meant for me. So much history to be told and so much more for eyes to see. The colors, feel the love, I can tell you all the way. Proud of it, proud of it, proud of it, proud of it. It don't matter where I voyage, it don't matter where I roam. Majestic becomes stand.
DJ Shows and Momo present Sunrise to Summer. Sunrise to Summer. Most anticipated event for the summer. It goes down Saturday, June 27th at Legends Place, 495 East and 95th Street. Get ready for the Total Destruction crew. DJ Kev, Top of the Line Family, DJ Young G, and the birthday boy coming through. The Simpler X, live on direct out of Vinci. Tickets are only $20. You'll pay more at the door. With drinks on sale and food on the house. Saturday, June 27th, Sunrise to Summer. New York, get ready. This is gonna be a movie.
On Saturday, May 30th, Brooklyn, get ready for a night you will not forget. As Dr. Ghost, The Empire Dawn presents reggae legend Dwayne Stevenson live in concert.
Word from the wise, don't try to make life on your own.
Dwayne Stevenson.
From a little cottage in your dream.
Sean B from St. Lucia.
Something grip me, please don't let me go.
Alongside TD Bang. Doors open at 7 p.m. Showtime 10 p.m. sharp. And it's going down inside the St. Lucian House, 438 East 49th Street, between Church and Snyder. With music by DJ Bashi, Selector Akal, DJ Sci-Fi, DJ GQ, and Earthquake Sounds. Hosted by Jessica Movements. Brooklyn is gonna be one memorable night. Performing live, Dwayne Stevenson. Tickets cost $70 in advance, $100 at the door. Ticket info, contact Moses on 347-701-6046. That's 347-701-6046. Sponsored by 106.3 FM, New York City. Lock in the date, Saturday, May 30th. Reggae legend Dwayne Stevenson live.
Shh. Do you hear that rumbling? That's not thunder, that's the hurricane hole! Ray of sunshine. It's $50 all-inclusive barbecue happening Saturday, July 12th, 193 Vernon Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, from 5 to 10 p.m. 5 hours of straight category 5 thunderous vibes. Food flowing, drinks flowing, vibes turn all the way up. Musically, shelling the place down. DJ Speedo Meeting.
Yeah, talk to me now.
And DJ Bashi. From old school classics to dancehall beat to soca madness, to the tunes that make you wanna pass the wine till sunset. This is not a sit-down event. This is a bring your big energy kind of line. So rally the crew and enter the hole. The Hurricane Hole, Ray of Sunshine, July 12th, 193 Vernon Avenue.
Hello. Good night, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Bouyon. Of course, I am your host, Peter D. Tonight, we're talking about living with autism. Voices, strength, and success stories of persons who are dealing every day with autism. Every life has value. Remember that. Once again, I want to say welcome across the Caribbean, the diaspora, and anywhere in the world that you're viewing us. We want to say welcome to our Bouyon Talkshow. Tonight's conversation is about understanding autism through the voices and experiences of people living with autism. This is not just an awareness. It is about humanity, inclusion, dignity, and recognizing the individuals with autism and that they make a meaningful and successful contribution to our life. All right, once again, I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank my guests here. But before we dive into our conversation, there are a couple of videos I'd like you guys to see before we go into our conversation. I want to encourage everybody to like and share the live. Tell a friend to tell a friend that Watch Radio is here. We want you guys to understand that autism is not a limitation on person's value, potential, or ability to contribute to our society. Let us treat everyone fairly and everyone right. Here are a few videos, and then we'll dive into our conversation.
Hello, everyone. I am the mother of 2 autistic young men. Let's talk about autism. What is autism? Autism is a condition that affects how the brain develops and works. It changes the way a person thinks, communicates, and connects with others and the world around them. Autism is also known as autism spectrum disorder, and persons with autism may identify themselves as autistic or on the spectrum. Autism isn't just one condition, it's a group of brain-related differences that autistic people may have. An autistic person may have difficulty understanding and using language, difficulty with social rules and recognizing others' feelings, challenges with changes and new situations. Autistic individuals display a wide range of behaviors with varying symptoms and severity, and these can change over time. This is why it is a spectrum. The autism experience is different for every autistic individual. Each person experiences their own unique strengths, symptoms, and challenges. We can say that the world of autism is a whirlwind of contradiction. Some autistic individuals are geniuses or gifted in some way. Others may not speak. Some can live independently, while others would require lifelong care. Autism is lifelong. You do not grow out of it. It is not an illness. It is not a disease to be cured. Thanks for listening. Hello, everyone. I am the mother of 2 autistic young men. Let's talk about autism. Some autistic people understand pictures more than words. You might also notice them repeating certain actions or phrases like spinning, flapping their hands, rocking, or pacing. This is called stimming. Stimming helps them stay calm, focus, and express emotions. It can bring comfort, especially when the world feels too bright, too loud, or too overwhelming. This feeling is called sensory overload. Bright lights, strong smells, loud noises, or even touch can feel intense, and stimming helps them cope. And no, Autism is not contagious. You can't catch it. Although not much is known about its cause, research shows that it is genetic and environmental factors may also play a role. Like anyone else, autistic people need understanding, acceptance, and the right support to thrive and reach their full potential. They are different, but not less. Let's continue to create a world where autistic people are valued, respected, and loved for exactly who they are. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, Julia, for taking some time and putting this together. Let me tell you, very, very informative. I am very, very, very happy to have you guys here with me tonight. I actually feel so privileged, just to be in the company of you all. And I like the fact that you indicated that autism is not a disease. It is not something to be cured. It is your life, as a human being. So I want to say, first of all, I want to say good evening, good afternoon. I know we have somebody from the UK, so now I know it's whatever time it is in the morning. So so my apologies for having you up that time, but your mic is mute, your microphone is muted as well, so you might want to turn that on. I want to give everybody the opportunity to introduce yourself to our audience so they know exactly who they're talking to. And Delia, I'll start with you.
Hello, everybody. It's lovely to be here, Peter. I am Dr. Delia Samuel. Career-wise, I'm a mathematics professor, but I'm not here to teach you mathematics, although I'd love to do so. But I am here as a parent of two autistic young men, and I am autistic, and I'm proud to say that I am autistic.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Marlon?
Hello, I'm really sorry. I lost you for a second, so I have no idea what you're asking of us at this point.
Oh, okay, no problem, man. Just asking you to introduce yourself to our audience so they know who you are.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Marlon Prevo Finlay. I am a St. Lucian living in summer London.
Okay.
So, yeah, I live in London. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you, man. And thank you. I know we have you. That's supposed to be a bedtime, but you're out here with us. So thank you much for being here. Sam? Can you hear me, Sam? The thing I dreaded, right? I think Sam is having some issues hearing us. I think we tried it earlier on and she was fine. Sam, if you can hear me. Okay, she can't. Kyan, can you hear us? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Yeah. My name is Kyan Gabriel. I'm actually 19 years old now. I live in St. Lucia. I live in Sierra and live in St. Lucia, yep. And I am on autism spectrum.
Thank you, Kyan.
I don't know. It's very interesting to believe that.
Can you turn your camera on, please? Yes, thank you. Great job. Thank you so much for that.
I find it interesting to believe that.
Okay, so we can thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that with us. Sam, can you hear me?
I just heard from her. She said she's not hearing a thing and her connection.
So okay. You want to text and ask her to go back out and come back in and see if that works, because it worked a while ago. So let's see.
Okay.
Yeah. Marlon, what does autism mean to you personally, and how did you realize that you were autistic?
So I was actually diagnosed February last year, actually. So I've been living with autism, knowing that I'm autistic for the last year or so, just over a year. it is part of my new identity, and it's something that I'm getting used to. I've had struggles over the years, but with having conversations with people like Delia and others from the autistic community is helping me to understand who I am as a person and that I'm just designed different.
Okay, all right. Thank you for sharing that. What's about you, Ken? How does autism or what does autism mean
For
to you?
me, it means that my brain works differently. I notice that it now I notice that it is love patterns, and somehow I need things silent to think clearly. But I don't see myself as really different. I'm just me. I'm just myself.
I love that. I love that. You just you. And I think Delia, that's what you're trying to explain as well. Let's see if we can get Sam on here. Let's see if Hi Sam, can you hear us this time?
I can hear you this time.
It works. Voila. Great. So, Sam, tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself to our audience, and at the same time, tell us what does autism mean to you personally.
Yeah. My name is Samantha Linguisini. I'm 22 years old. I'm a mother of two, one of who is also autistic. Autism to me personally means there's nothing wrong with me, just my brain processes things differently than other people's do. I find it to be a condition, especially for me and my son, where we just see the world a bit differently than other people do. And sometimes that can be a bit difficult for us, but other times it can be very rewarding.
Wow. I like that. And I'm going to ask you about what you just said, that it can be rewarding. So just remember that answer you just gave me. Delia, tell us a little bit about what autism means to you, and tell us about your diagnosis and so on.
I see autism just walking a different part of life. I see the world differently. My children see the world differently. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with that. So there's nothing wrong with autism. We are just different, and I actually love the differences in me and in my children. I was diagnosed only as an adult. That was in 2021 when I started seeing myself and my children in their behaviors. And I said, but that's how I was when I was a teenager and when I was younger. And so I decided to get myself tested. So I live in Minnesota, and that is where I got myself tested. It was a long exam. I would like to say it's quite intrusive. But I got diagnosed, and I was diagnosed with autism. Now, well, before they would have said Asperger's syndrome. Asperger's syndrome is a part of autism whereby I'm intellectually capable, let's put it this way. But because everything comes under the umbrella of autism, they said I am autistic with no intellectual impairment or language disorder, and I do not need support.
Wow. Okay. Marlon, let me ask you: is that kind of like your same experience in a sense? Because you said you were only diagnosed a year ago.
Well, my assessment seemed quite shorter compared to what Delia had to go through. It was a two-part assessment, but it was looking into family history, and that was provided by family, and then meeting with two different assessors and sitting through the process. In the end, it was just a case of, yes, you have autism. You can choose whichever title you wish, have autism or autistic. And one of the things they said was go find your tribe, which was a bit challenging when you have no idea what to do next. So it was like I went through a grieving process, because on one hand it was good to know, but on the other hand, it was really difficult, and I was quite emotional hearing those words that you are autistic.
I could well imagine. Sam, you indicated that sometimes it can be rewarding. Can you like in your own words explain to us what does that mean to you?
Yeah, for myself, I find that it's easier for me to have um like I can connect with people a little bit more, and I think that's also because of my perspective on things, because I see the world differently and I see conversations differently than others would. I feel like I can, notice certain things with people that others may not cue into. Same thing with my son. He's like Miss Delia said, I noticed a few traits of myself in my son also, and some of the things that he did, and my parents told me that I did also. Um, I find that it's like we've been saying, it's not something that makes people less than. You have a different way of saying things, and I can have those connections with people a lot better.
Got you. Thank you so much. Kyan, what are some of the traits and that people misunderstand, the common signs and that people misunderstand? You muted, huh? You need to
Yes.
unmute yourself. Yeah. Mhm. Thank you. What are some of the common signs or traits people may misunderstand, may not understand rather?
Well, coming to think of it,
When you speak to yourself, and I speak to myself.
it's the self-talking. It's mainly the self. Mainly the self-talking that 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 led to it.
Okay. Mainly when you're having conversation, or mainly the way that they speak about autistic people?
When I speak to myself.
It's the way I speak to myself. It's the way the self-talk rather about autistic people.
Autism. Okay. Let me ask a question, Samantha. How does autism affect communication, emotion, and social interaction?
For myself,
Yeah.
sometimes I can be a bit sensitive to when people talk to me. Um, I tend to read into things a little bit more. It makes me anxious. When I'm interacting with people, it can sometimes be hard to maintain eye contact. I tend to look away a lot, which is something that um, is harder, especially like in the United States, where eye contact is very big here. Whereas growing up where my family is from, we're not big on eye contact. It's actually seen as disrespectful. So later on, I it was when I came to America, it was harder to maintain eye contact with people, not just because of how I grew up, but because it's a bit uncomfortable for me. It just makes the conversation feel a bit too serious.
Okay.
Yeah, interactions can be a bit difficult, but I feel like as I get older and as kind of said, you find your tribe, it's easier to do those things with people who are like you.
You know, I will say my 2 cents on that one shortly. Let me ask you, Marlon, because you indicated about finding your tribe. What did that when you were told that? What did that mean to you? Because I'm like, find my tribe. What does that mean? What did that mean to you?
That was exactly what it was. Okay. I had to reflect on it because I got home after dealing with all the emotions and thinking, okay, yes, you told me that, but where do I start was the question. Because I had no idea. I mean, I didn't know anybody, knowingly know anybody who was autistic. So where do I start was the question. And it took me a little while, but I found people and I am continuing to find people. So
Okay.
yeah, but it was a challenge.
And do you find communication difficult? Do you find there's any emotional setbacks, or do you have problem with social interaction?
It depends on the situation, I think, and I think it has a lot to do with the energy of the people around me as well. So some days I can literally, so yesterday, for instance, we were away, my wife and I was with my wife, and we were speaking with this person. And I found it so easy speaking with her. But later I found out that she has dyslexia. And so she has a neurodiverse brain. So I suppose that helped. But there was a point, and I reflected on the conversation later on, that I recognized that my brain shut down. And so no words come out. You're having the conversation, you're still in the conversation, but the words aren't coming out. And it happens a lot in social settings.
Okay.
Especially if you're sometimes overstimulated, that can happen. And it's something I'm still learning to recognize and navigate.
All right, thank you for that. Delia, how about yourself? How does autism affect communication, emotions, and your social interaction?
Oh wow. So let me say something about this. I used to mask a lot of my autistic traits because in growing up, I felt different from others. So I thought something was wrong with me. Okay. But for me, what I found about communication, I'm able to communicate. As you can see, I feel comfortable doing that. And I think my teaching profession helped me to do that. What I have found over the years, Peter, was that I had to develop mechanisms to cope with my autistic traits. And so I did not have therapy because I did not know I was autistic. So I had to learn how to do it. Now, something about me, I don't like small talk. I just find, okay, what are we talking about? What is the purpose of it? I need some type of focus. Okay, so that's the one thing about me when it comes to communication. I am very comfortable being by myself. I love my alone time. I love just staying at home and just watching the same movie over and over again. That's fine with me. I'm comfortable with that. Before I wasn't because I thought something was wrong with me. But now that I know that I am autistic, I am fine with that. In terms of eye contact, I look at people dead on. So if somebody had to diagnose me with autism based on the fact that I don't have eye contact, I look at people dead on. Other challenges that I may have would be routine. I stick with routine. I have a very structured day. So much so, when I deviate from the routine, sometimes it causes me physical pain. But again, I had to learn how to cope with that because I couldn't go around. There were times when my routine had to be, something had to be changed. So I had to learn how to cope with that.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Let's just say good night to everybody who've joined us. There have quite a few people on. Remember, guys, if you do not say anything, I will not know that you're on. Chelsea, I see you, my girl. Thank you for joining us. Harriet, I want to say good night to you and thank you. And I want to encourage everybody to like and share the live. Tell somebody that Watch Radio is on and we are talking to 4 incredible young people. All right. And I am the 5th older person here. So Kian, let me ask, what do you wish people understood more about you and about autism?
Probably the fact that oh, it's not really by my family, but the times when I feel misunderstood are when it's too noisy and I can't explain myself fast enough. But most people around me have been very supportive.
So, okay, so a lot of times, and let me see if I get this right, a lot of times you can't explain yourself fast enough and you just want people to be more patient to listen to what you have to say. Give you the time to be able to express yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Sam, on your side, what do you wish that people understood more about you and autism?
Um, about about me, I wish people would understand that sometimes I'm not doing things on purpose. I'm still learning and I'm still, figuring myself out. I was only recently diagnosed, only like 2, 3 months ago.
Okay.
Um, and it's still an adjustment period. Actually, the reason that I got diagnosed, my son was diagnosed when he was 2. And I was actually talking to Miss Delia about it. And she pointed out she asked me to get tested. And I went home and I thought about it and I thought, she's right. I should check that out. And so I did. Um, and during my testing, I got frustrated at some things. I I never really had to deal with not that I didn't have to deal with before, but it was more obvious that it was difficult for me to do. Whereas during my day to day, something bothers me, I often avoid it. Um, and like Miss Delia said, you have to learn how to cope with those things. So I wish people would be patient and give us time to figure things out on our own and figure out the way that works best for us to learn those things. I had to learn that with my son. Sometimes, even though he's 3, I have to give him the space to try to do something on his own and figure out which way is best for him to do it instead of trying to do it my way alone. You know.
Thank you for sharing that. You also indicated that you were only diagnosed about 3 months ago. How has that process been from being diagnosed to now? How have you taken that? How has it been?
It's like I'm putting my glasses on in the morning, you know? I went when I wake up, my vision is very blurry. And so like it was very similar to that. When I got my diagnosis, I knew there were some things different about me, but nothing that was glaringly obvious. I thought, that's just my personality. That's just the way that I am. So when I went in, I had a 2-part assessment also. And when I went in for uh, the meeting about the findings, she told me that not only did she also diagnosed me with ADHD. So I had ADHD and autism. And that was a struggle. Um, not to just be diagnosed with one thing, but to also be diagnosed with another, and they coincide. That was rough for me because I'm diagnosed with a lot of things, and to have another thing added to that was frustrating because it just felt, well, what is wrong with me that I'm diagnosed with all these other things? But as the doctor explained, they overlap a lot of the times. And it's not say that you are diagnosed with only ADHD, only autism, only bipolar. It's you have these traits and these are the diagnoses, but they all are part of who you are, and that's okay.
Yeah, definitely. It's part of who you are, and that's okay. Marlon, what do you wish more people understand? Sorry, or about autism?
I think two things come to mind. It's how what the spectrum looks like, because I think some neurotypical people think it's a line. So you either so let's just say a line of 1 to 100. You either close to one, or you close to 100, or you somewhere on that line. When actually, it's not linear. It's think of a spider web, and you have different things. So for instance, me, you might hear me and think, oh well, he sounds bright and intelligent and articulate, therefore doesn't need support, when the reality is that's not the case. So there's some things that may be challenging for me and some things I might be able to do. One of the things, so Kyan spoke about self-talk. I do that all the time. Now I can do it in a safe space and I'm comfortable, and my wife knows that I speak to myself and she's okay. But somebody else hearing that, they may have, disparaging words to say, and it makes you feel uncomfortable, and now you start to bottle up, and that's where further masking happens, because you're pretending to be something that you're not, when the reality is, it's just to allow us to to show who we are without judgment. Communication is important, understanding, but also listening. Um, Delia mentioned about small talk. Like, what exactly is that? Like, let's just get to the point. Um, so it's these sorts of things. It's just having an understanding of, if you don't know something, ask a question, and that's me. So ask a question. If you don't understand, ask a question.
Mhm.
Speaking of asking a question, that's what helps me to start conversations or engage with people, particularly people I don't know. Some days I might be able to have a conversation with a stranger and find it difficult to have conversations with family members. So it's having that understanding that sometimes no 2 days are the same, and we do all need support in one way or another.
Thank you for that, Delia. I have the same question for you because I want to hear your answer on that.
By the way, I have to say, I speak to myself all the time. And I really thought it was the mathematics in me, the mathematician in me, but it's good to hear that others do it. And I love talking to myself. I just love it. I feel very comfortable, But one of the things that I wish people would understand more is our routine. We have to have a routine. We have to be structured. And we are not being stubborn. I've been told so many times that Delia likes her own way. It's not that I like my own way. It's just that it's just the way I see things and just how I feel when I do not have a routine, when I do not have a structure. Sensory overload. A lot of us have sensory sensitivities. Trying to make sense of the world around us. So we have sensitivities to light, to sound, very loud sounds. And so if something happens and we react, like if we're out in public and there are lots of crowds or there's loud music and we cannot take it, it's not bad behavior. We are not being impolite. It's because we cannot deal with it. We cannot make sense of it. And as I always say, there's nothing wrong with us. There's nothing wrong with us. We do not need fixing. So I wish people wouldn't try to fix us or try to cure us. Try to understand us instead. And don't try to make us into people that we are not. Or don't try to make us into somebody that you will feel comfortable with because you are uncomfortable with how we are. We do not need fixing. We love who we are, but we wish that others would love us as we are.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much. And I want to share a few myths that people have, right, about people who are suffering from or with autism, autistic people. And one of them is people with autism do not have emotions. You also say autism means someone is intellectually incapable. Individuals with autism cannot build relationships. Autism is caused by poor parenting. People with autism cannot succeed independently. I want to know from your perspective, what are your thoughts on some of those myths? And what is it that you want to say to the public out there to tell them, hey, whatever your position is and what they think about you, And Delia, I'll start with you.
I mean, these are just so wrong, right? I mean, they're just so wrong. And it's the assumptions I say again that people have about us, and they judge us because of what they think, of what they have heard. So when you hear that autistic people do not have emotions, why? I cry. I mean, we may deal with it differently. So sometimes, for example, my son, when he has a joke, he may cry. Or he may laugh at something that's really not funny. But that is how his own perspective. But we do have emotions. We do get angry. We do cry. We do laugh. Intellectually incapable. Look at me. I have a PhD in mathematics. I'm very, very smart at mathematics. So I'm quite intellectually capable. So that is something that is clearly wrong. Not because you hear that an autistic person is nonverbal and they cannot speak, or they have some communication differences, that they are intellectually incapable. Give them the support and the accommodations that they would need to be able to communicate. They are still worthy. They still have a lot of worth, whether or not they cannot communicate as you would want them to. Poor parenting, that's a big one. Actually, I was told that when my children, both, well, the first one and then the second one, after the second one was diagnosed, I was told, you must be a bad mother. That is why you have two children who are autistic. I was told that. Very hurtful comments. Very hurtful.
Yeah, thank you. Marlon, you want to add on this?
I think it just speaks to ignorance and sometimes a willful ignorance that people would think that way. Yeah, I think that's all I'm going to say about that.
Ryan, they want to add on anything that people think about people with autism?
Yes, yes. It is the fact that we do have emotions and we all want to correct them. No, the self talk sometimes now. No, for self talk it means that it means that just speaking to yourself. I forgot what I, I, I would best say. I've been getting I've been I've been I began to feel all these matters are doing people find this weird, but sometimes it helps me process things. I think I just said it, and yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. Sam, how about yourself? About the myths out there?
Yeah, I heard a lot of those myths growing up, and until like I finally actually did my research on autism, I even thought some of them. But you learn and you realize that people with autism do have emotions. Like Miss Delia says, I cry and I do lots of those things. I may struggle handling others' emotions, but that doesn't mean that I don't have my own. Um, and with the result of that autism is a result of bad parenting, um, I don't see how anybody could think that because I work with children with autism and I work with their parents and I see just how much effort and care that they put into providing their children with the accommodations and with the needs that they have. I don't see how anyone could ever think that autism could be a result of bad parenting if they were to actually see how those parents interact with their children firsthand like I do. Um, and and people with autism are very intellectually capable. They're very gifted. We sometimes our perspective and seeing things differently allow us to do things that people may deem us incapable of doing. Um, so I think the myths from not having enough information and like Marlon said it's willful ignorance even when they do have that information to still think that way.
Thank you for sharing. And I hope everybody out there listening, because being different does not mean that you are less than. And I think that's an important point that we have to take into account. We have to remember that. MG, I see you. I want to say good night to you. Dora, Perival, I want to say good night to you. I see you as well. And I want to say good night to everyone who's listening, everyone who's on the live. In as much as you're not saying much and listening, I want to say thank you guys for being here and being there with us. Society and how they treat persons with autism or anybody who's different. They tend to stereotype anyone who's different, who's not like them. So what are some of the what are some of the daily challenges that people may not see that you experience?
I've had to I'm a person of routine also. And being flexible is a bit hard for me sometimes, but it's something that you have to learn when you're a parent and when you have, all the things that go on in your life. But daily struggles for me, aside from routine, is the overstimulation. I didn't realize how overstimulated I get very quickly, until like I'm in the adult world now, because I never really went anywhere when I was a kid. But now that like I drive and I have to go places, it's hard for me to not want to go into my shell. So I'm often home and it's hard for me to get out. Um, and it's something that I'm working on to figure out how I can still be in the world and still cope with those things.
Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
Kyan, how important is it for persons to have patience and understanding when dealing with you? How important is that to you?
Yeah, yeah. In my high opinion, is the noise that is the noise that is a behavior one for me. A loud room like like when a room and it is so loud, it's difficult to focus and express myself. I, I also speak I also speak to myself sometimes to be thinking that people sometimes find that suspicious or strange.
Right, right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because people find it strange that you're talking to yourself and they and you want them to understand that. And I want to say to our audience here, I think it's about sometimes it's education and kind of understanding what
Mm-hmm.
persons are going through and how they relate and how they react and how they behave. And I think it's important to also respect their space and what they do and what everybody you need to respect everybody's space, right? So let me ask, Marlon, you've been diagnosed recently as well. What support system help you the most?
Sorry. So I was having an emotional moment just now.
Okay.
Uh, just calling it what it is. And that's happens sometimes. You sometimes don't even know. Like Dilio was saying, her son, cries at a joke. So in terms of support, I have a very loving wife who's been my rock and who's been there with me throughout. Um, and that's who I lean into, even before I knew what this was. She's been very supportive. I've been very fortunate to marry into a family of people who are wonderful, fiercely protective of each other. Um, and so, they've been a joy to have in my life as well. They've been very supportive throughout the time that I've been part of this family, which is quite a while now. They've accepted me with all my challenges and everything, and that has been really, really, really helpful. And there are other family members who, even though they don't understand, they try, and that is really helpful. Um, Lastly, I was introduced to someone recently by Delia, and we've I hope he's listening. Um, and we've developed a friendship. It's still budding, but it's lovely to have somebody who understands when I say, last week was really challenging, understands what I'm talking about. And we can share ideas and bounce things off of and share our interests and talk about things without judgment. And that is really, really important as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you for sharing that, Marlon. Thank you so much for sharing that. Leona Joseph, I want to say good night to you and happy birthday to you as well, my dear. Happy birthday. I want to say thank you to everyone who has joined us tonight. I want to say we appreciate you guys, and I'm so happy we are having this discussion because I think it's long overdue. These discussions we need to have them a little more. To be very honest with you, Delia, you often speak about autism as your superpower, right? Tell us what strengths has autism given you? And I want to direct that question to each of you guys here. What you think is your superpower? What strength has it given you? Yeah, we'll
I
start with you.
I think my profession, I absolutely love mathematics. I'm very, very good at it. I teach it well. So I believe that's one of the things that it has given me. And I've been like this, Peter, from the time I was a child. I just used to look for patterns in things, like 3 or 4 years, just look for patterns in numbers and trying to see, the tessellations and all of that. So that's a big strength for me. Another one for me is that I'm able to multitask. People do not understand because I'm involved in so many projects and helping people in St. Lucia. So I'm involved in a mathematics camp, a summer mathematics camp that I initiated and implemented. This is the 4th year of doing this. I do all of these autism projects. So I do have a nonprofit at home in St. Lucia, plus a nonprofit here in the United States. So that's one. Another one is breast cancer awareness. I'm really into this right now. And so I'm involved in lots and lots of projects as well as, and also my work. I give a lot of talks throughout the US and, so I'm able to multitask. So when people say, how are you able to do all of that? I say, well, I'm more than a spider. And I am able to do all of them very, very well. And I believe it's the autism in me, which I really love. And the other thing is that I love, I love deeply. I love fully. I accept people as they are. That is who you are. And I love you as you are. And I guess and also know that is because of the autism in me. Another strength that I have is I'm very honest. Some people may say too honest sometimes. Or
Brutally honest.
I just cannot lie. I am just honest and I tell you as is. Sometimes I have to learn to be a little bit more tactful, but I am also very, very honest. And the last thing I'd like to say about strengths and accomplishments are my friends. I have genuine friends. A lot of my friends are autistic. And they are genuine relationships because we both accept each other. We don't have to pretend. We don't have to wear a mask. This is who we are.
Wow, thank you for that, Sam. How about yourself?
One of my strengths for me personally, I think, is my connection with people. Like Miss Delia said, I've always been told that I connect with people a bit easier, even though internally it can be a bit hard for me with certain people. But um, with other autistic people, it's just easier. You can, like Miss Delia said, you don't have to wear that mask. Um, you can just be who you are. And I find that is easier because I'm neurodivergent, because I'm autistic. Yeah.
Thank you. And Kyan, what about you? What is your superpower?
Well, my superpower would be that it helps me focus deeply when I care about something. That's why I'm
All right.
good
Nice.
at.
Nice. Thank you for that. Helps you focus deeply. Marlon, I'm going to ask you about your superpower, but I also want you in the same process to tell me a little bit about Beyond Ionola. That's your co-founder of that organization. Tell us a little bit about that as well.
Okay. So Beyond Dianola, I am a co-founder and director of Beyond Dianola. We're a diaspora-focused organization based in London. We aim to amplify and celebrate the beauty of the diaspora and what we can offer to the world, but with a particular focus on St. Lucia. So in 2020 we started some publications writing about St. Lucians. It just started off as something to do whilst the COVID uh, thing was happening in the world, and asking a few friends questions, and they put in their answers, and we put together a publication. And then before you know it, there were like 20 something publications later. And so it was really just celebrating our people. We feel strongly about development. We use the Sustainable Development Goals right here, plug for that, um, as the foundation of what we do, and in particular goals 17, which is partnerships for the goals. So again, we just whatever we can do to support the diaspora community. Superpower, I would say observation. Um, so when I was younger, I always thought I had superpowers actually, because I was actually reflecting on this recently, and I thought that explains a lot of things. So I could literally sit and watch people. I can walk into a room, stand on a side, and just literally watch people have interactions, and because I'm not always good at it. So my superpower is observation.
Observation. Thank you so much. Thank you, Marlon. All good things must come to an end, and so must Bouyon. But before we go, I want to ask this question of each of you. And I'm going to start with you, Kian, first. What message would you like viewers to remember tonight? Kian, what message would you like viewers to remember tonight?
Well, I would like viewers to remember that you belong, you have to value. Don't hide who you are. The whole world needs what you have. You are just as unique as everyone is as everyone is loving you for who you are, and as always, be kind even when others choose not to. Just be your best self.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Sam, how about yourself?
Something that I always tell people working with autistic children, when you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person. While we have similarities, we're not all the same. Each person has the coping mechanisms, each person has their special interests, each person has the things that can be difficult for them or their own superpowers, like we've talked about. So just remember that when you're interacting with us, just ask us what is best for us, you know?
Thank you.
So that way you're not making assumptions.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Wow. Marlon, how about yourself?
We just see the world differently.
Hmm.
We're human, just like everybody else. We bleed, we hurt, we cry, we laugh. Sometimes we may cry and laugh at what people consider inappropriate times, but we have emotions. We are human, just like everybody else. We are all special in our own unique ways, but our brains just function differently. We operate on a different level. So just give us time. Just give us time, but we
Thank
can
you.
contribute.
Wow. Thank you for that. Miss Howard said, very interesting. As a special education teacher, these are the forums needed and the conversations so that we can understand the world of autism. And thank you so much for sharing that. And of course, Mandy Privel said, well said. Okay, and well said. Delia, to you now, what would you want to our viewers to remember tonight? But there's a special project that you're working on in July in St.
Yes.
Lucia. Tell us a little bit about that. We don't have much time, but you could take about 2 minutes. Tell us a little bit about that and what you want viewers to remember tonight.
HAPA, the Helen Association for Persons with Autism. We are putting on for the first time, and we have an autistic carnival band. So made up of only autistic individuals, giving the right accommodations to show that we can be included in the cultural activities in St. Lucia. So that would be a kiddies carnival band, and we are going to do this and let you know that we don't need to be ostracized, that we can do this. So that's what I have to say about the July.
I love that. I love it. I love it. When you said, I was like, yes, I love it.
It's the first of a kind. So about what I want to leave, the message I want to leave with the viewers is that autism is beautiful. Our greatest need as autistic individuals is to be loved and accepted for who we are. And that is just a basic human right. And I want to say to all autistic individuals, if you are just being diagnosed, be you. Be yourself. Don't let anybody change you. You are beautiful. You take care of yourself and you love yourself unconditionally because you are beautiful.
Wow, wow. Thank you. So well said. I want to say to you guys, thank you so very much for joining us on the Bouyon Talk Show. You know, I would love to invite you all again at some point if you all would accept my invitation to be part of that. Let's continue having these conversations. I think it's important. I think it's important that we kind of start to educate persons and let them be more sensitive to who we are as individuals, right? I think these are important.
I agree with you because
Thank you, man. Thank you. You agree with me. So that means when I send the invitation, you're going to accept, right? You're going to say yes. All right. I love it. I love it. Thank you so very much. You know, guys, normally I don't do this, but I think this is such a special topic that I actually prepared a little something that I want to share, I want to read. I, it's just in my closing statement for the show. I don't normally do it, but I feel it is so important because I feel that we as individuals, we need to also respect each person. Every life matters, right? And everybody should have a voice and everybody should be allowed to express themselves and everybody should be listened to no matter what. Give them the time. I know Karen just said that sometimes what he would like for people is to take the time and let him express himself as opposed to before he's even get the word out, they like, so they want to have him speaking quicker than he is ready to. So I think we need to kind of understand persons, understand who we're dealing with. So tonight reminds us that autism is not a barrier to living a meaningful life. It isn't. Behind every diagnosis is a human being with dreams, talents, emotions, and values. When society chooses understanding over judgment and inclusion over exclusion, everyone benefits. That's important. Every life truly has value. This is really, really important. Every life truly has a value. Guys, I want to say thank you so very much for joining us here on Bouyon tonight. I want to say thank you to the many people who are here viewing the show tonight. I say thank you so very much. And again, I am going to extend another invitation. I think maybe 2 months down the line or so, we do another show again. Let's talk a little bit more because there's so many questions that I have. So, and you guys know that there are a lot of questions. So let us maybe do that in the next 2 months again and have a nice conversation. All right, guys?
Okay.
Once again, I want to say thank you, good night, and goodbye. Marlon, see if you can get some rest, brother. I know what time is it by your side. What time is it by you? 1 a.m.?
Yeah.
1 a.m. Yeah, all right. So take care and good night. Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye. Bye.
Bye.